Hello, my name is Rachel and I'm here tonight with my March wrap-up video. Now, it's not too impressive if you watched my February TBR video because I did not do so well. Didn't do so well. This is like, I feel like a broken record because I never hit my TBR. We're gonna have to fix this TBR situation in the future. But I did manage to get 4 books read and technically another half, and 1.5 of those were on that TBR. So, yeah. I did start out with A Gathering of Shadows, which was tops on my TBR list because I was meeting V.E. Schwab at the beginning of March, and it was awesome. However, I only got a little bit less than halfway through the book before I had to put it down for various reasons, and I just haven't managed to pick it back up yet because I just haven't had the time or the drive to read. I've been in a huge reading slump this month, and I know that this is not a book that I just want to read a few pages on, like, every couple of days. I really want to dive in and read big chunks of this book at once and really get kind of enveloped in this book. So I would rather just kind of leave it and then read big chunks of it at a large time instead of forcing myself to read it. And it's really good. It's not like it's a bad book that is the reason I put it down. It's just, for various reasons, I had to put it down, and now I'm saving it because it's going to be glorious and I'm gonna love it. So that will be happening for sure in April. And by for sure, I mean for sure this time. It's gonna happen, so stay tuned. However, for the books I did actually finish this month, the first one was The Infinite Sea by Rick Yancey, and this is the second book in the Fifth Wave series, so I'm not gonna tell you too much because it is a sequel, but if you're not familiar with the Fifth Wave, I like to say it's The Walking Dead with zombies, and it was very interesting. I actually just reread it this year, and so I was in the mood for this, especially since The Last Star is coming out in a couple of months, and I'm ready just to wrap this trilogy up and see what happens. A lot of people weren't happy with this book. They felt like it was more of a filler, and while I can see that, I also felt like this kept my attention. Because it was so short, it seemed like it was action-packed, and I just kept wanting to know what was happening to these characters. It was very suspenseful for me, which I wasn't really expecting. So I did like this. I gave it 5. I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars, and I'm looking forward to The Last Star. Next, I picked up books 1 through 4 as an ebook collection for the Judy B Jones series, and if you are unfamiliar with Judy B Jones, this is a kindergartner / eventually first grader who we follow basically through her school shenanigans. And all the kids at school love these books, and I never read them, so I picked them up wanting to see what it was about, and I did not like them. Shocker. I just think that she's just such a bad role model. She's kind of a mean little turd. She does things just so she can get what she wants, and she's kind of mean. She's kind of a bully, and I just don't get it. I see some of the humor in some of the scenarios, but I don't find the overall story to be a good one because it sends a bad message, I think, and I just don't like those books. So I gave it 2.5 out of 5 stars for the entire 1 through 4 collection. Next, while I was at that library, I was mending some books, and I came across an Amelia Bedelia Treasury. I got 3 stories, I believe, in that treasury, and I read them all out loud because you have to. And if you're unfamiliar, Amelia Bedelia is a maid who has a very positive outlook on things, but she takes everything you say very literally. So, for instance, if you ask her to make a sponge cake for dinner, she will put actual sponges in that cake. And it sounds silly, but I just think it's so cute, and it's so positive. There's not a lot of negative in it. They always end well, and I just think it's really cute. And it also gives you an opportunity to open up that dialogue with kids about such an important lesson of the difference between literal and figurative, and I think that's amazing. So I love these. I gave them 3.5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. And last but not least, the only full book that was on my TBR that I actually finished, and that is An Ember in the Ashes by Sabati here. I read this with a few girls from the high school that I work with for our book club this month, and it was so awesome because once we started reading this, we found out that she was actually going to be visiting a bookstore in our area along with the author we read last month, which was Rachel Hawkins, on the Penguins book tour, and it was awesome. And I love this book. 5 out of 5 stars. I will say that I don't know why it took me so long to read this. It is amazing. And if you're unfamiliar with the storyline, it basically follows a young girl who is living in kind of an oppressive empire, kind of like a Roman-esque empire. And these masks come in, and they had already killed her parents. They kill her grandparents. They kidnap her brother. So she finds the resistance who is fighting against the empire, and they agree to help her save her brother if, and only if, she will agree to be a spy at Blackcliff, which is the academy that trains all of these young kids to be masks in the first place. And chaos ensues. It is so, so good. My only complaint with this book is it just seemed like there was so much, like, angsty romance, and I just didn't get it, and I just was kind of over it. But I guess it makes sense in the context of this scenario, because everybody's kind of mean to everybody else in this book, so if you find people that are nice to you, you might kind of have feelings for them. So I guess it makes sense. It's just, I got over it. But still so, so, so good. 5 out of 5 stars. Cannot wait for the sequel to come out later this year. So those were the 4 books that I managed to read in March, despite a lot of books that I started and just couldn't work my way through because of my reading slump. But nonetheless, I did get some reading done, which I'm happy about. Hopefully, though, it'll be a better wrap-up in April, and I definitely will have a Gathering of Shadows for you then. So thanks for watching, and I will see you again very soon. Bye for now!